Hello, my name is Violet, and I still remember how nervous I felt when I first started learning English. It seemed so big and confusing, so many new words, rules, and sounds. But step by step, I discovered that learning English isn't about being perfect. It's about starting small, practicing every day, and keeping your confidence high. If you're just beginning your English journey, don't worry, you're not alone. Let's explore the first steps together. Start with the basics. Learn simple words, common phrases, and everyday greetings to build your first vocabulary. Practice speaking daily. Don't just read or listen, say the words out loud, even if you're alone, to train your tongue and your mind. Make learning fun. Use songs, stories, apps, or short videos to keep your motivation strong and your practice enjoyable. Now I will explain every point with you from the start. When I first decided to learn English, I didn't know where to start. Everything felt new and strange to me. But then I told myself to start small. I began by learning the most basic words and phrases, the words we use every day. Words like hello, thank you, sorry, please, yes, no, goodbye. These words are very simple, but they are also very powerful. They help you to start speaking English quickly. After learning these words, I moved to short phrases. For example, how are you? What is your name? And my name is Violet. These phrases helped me introduce myself and ask simple questions. At first, I felt shy saying them out loud, but I practiced alone in my room. I would look into the mirror and say, "Hello, my name is Violet." It felt silly at first, but it really helped me remember the words. Then I started to learn words for things around me. For example, in my room, I learned the words bed, window, door, chair, table, book. Every day I would look at an object and say its name in English. This way, my room became like my classroom. I also made small labels on paper and stuck them on things. Door, mirror, lamp. Every time I looked at them, I remembered the words better. The next step was to learn numbers and colors. Numbers are very useful. I learned to count from 1 to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. After that, I practiced saying bigger numbers. For colors, I learned words like red, blue, green, yellow, black, white. I looked at my clothes or objects and said the color. My shirt is blue, or the paper is white. This made learning fun and easy. I also focused on learning some action words, verbs, like eat, drink, go, come, sit, stand, read, write. And then I tried to make simple sentences with them. For example, I eat, I drink water, or I read a book. These small sentences helped me see how words fit together. One important thing I realized is that you don't need to learn difficult words in the beginning. It's better to know 100 easy and useful words really well than to know 1,000 difficult words that you can't use. Start with what helps you speak in real life. I also listened to slow English videos for beginners. I repeated the words after the speaker. Listening and speaking at the same time helped me remember better. Sometimes I would pause the video and say the words slowly, trying to copy the same sound. In the first month, my goal was not to be perfect. My goal was to feel comfortable with English words and phrases. Slowly, my vocabulary grew. Every day I tried to learn 5 new words. Some days I forgot them, but that was okay. I learned them again the next day. Starting with the basics is very important because it builds your confidence. When you know a few words and can say them, you feel happy and proud. This makes you want to keep learning more. Remember, English is a big language, but it always starts with small steps. So, if you are starting your English journey, do what I did. Learn simple words and everyday phrases first. Practice them every day. Use them in your room, in your mirror, or with a friend. Step by step, you will see your English grow. And trust me, it really works. After I learned my first basic words and phrases, I realized something very important. I needed to speak English every day, even if it was only for a few minutes. At first, this idea scared me. I thought, what if I say something wrong? What if I sound silly? But then I remembered, it doesn't matter. What matters is to practice. In the beginning, I practiced speaking alone. Every morning, I would look into the mirror and say, "Good morning, Violet." Then I would talk about my day in very simple English. For example, today I go to the market. I buy apples. I read my book. Even if the sentences were short and not perfect, I still spoke them out loud. Speaking alone helped me feel more comfortable with the words. It also helped my tongue and mouth get used to English sounds. English sounds are sometimes different from my own language, so my mouth had to learn how to say them. The more I practiced, the easier it became. One fun thing I did was to describe what I was doing during the day. For example, when I was cooking, I would say, "I cut the tomato. I cook the rice. I drink water." When I was cleaning, I said, "I clean the table. I sweep the floor." These small sentences were simple, but they made my English part of my daily life. Another thing that helped me was to repeat words I heard in songs or short English videos. If I heard someone say, "How are you today?" I would pause the video and say the same words myself. Sometimes I said them slowly first, then faster. This way, I practiced not only the words, but also the way people really speak them. I also made a rule for myself. Speak English for at least 5 minutes every day. Even on busy days, I tried to keep this rule. Some days I spoke more, but never less than 5 minutes. This daily practice became my habit, like brushing my teeth. And because it was a habit, I didn't forget. After some time, I felt brave enough to practice with other people. I spoke with friends who were also learning English. We didn't speak perfectly, but we understood each other and we laughed together when we made mistakes. This made learning feel fun, not scary. I also recorded my voice on my phone. I would say a few sentences, then listen to myself. Sometimes I noticed words that I didn't say clearly, so I practiced them again. It felt strange at first to hear my own voice, but it really helped me improve. Practicing daily taught me something very important. You don't learn to speak English by only reading or listening. You must open your mouth and speak. Even if you make mistakes, that's okay. Mistakes are part of learning. The more you speak, the better you become. Over time, I saw big changes. Words came to my mind faster. I didn't need to stop and think so much before speaking. I felt more natural and confident. And all of this happened because I practiced speaking every day, not just once a week. So, if you are just starting your English journey, please remember this. Speak every day, even if you are alone. Talk to yourself, talk to your mirror, talk to your pet. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you practice. Step by step, your English will become clearer and more confident, and you will feel so proud of your progress. When I first started learning English, I thought it was only about memorizing words from books or repeating grammar rules. But very soon, I discovered something wonderful. Learning English can be fun, and when it's fun, it's much easier to keep going. One of the first things I did to make English fun was to listen to songs in English. I picked songs with slow and clear lyrics so I could understand the words. I listened carefully and wrote down the words I heard. Then I would sing along, even if my voice wasn't perfect. Singing helped me remember words and also practice pronunciation in a happy way. When you sing, you don't feel nervous about mistakes because it feels like playing. I also started watching short stories and cartoons in English. They were made for children, so the language was simple and the voices spoke slowly. Even if I didn't understand every word, I could guess the meaning from the pictures. Sometimes I paused and repeated new words I heard. Watching stories was like traveling to another world, and I learned new words without feeling like I was studying. Another thing that helped me a lot was using language learning apps and games. Some apps had little quizzes, matching games, or even daily challenges. It felt like playing, not studying. Every time I finished a level, I felt proud. Small rewards like this kept my motivation strong. I also made my own little games. For example, I wrote new words on small pieces of paper and put them in a jar. Every morning, I picked one and tried to use it in a sentence that day. At night, I checked if I had used the word. This game made me excited to wake up and learn. Reading short stories and fairy tales in English was also very enjoyable. At first, I read stories written for children because they use simple language. I read slowly and tried to understand the main idea, not every word. Later, I could read slightly harder stories. Reading stories made me see words used in real sentences, and it felt like discovering secrets of the language. Sometimes I also spoke to myself like a character in a story or movie. For example, if I watched a movie, I repeated what the character said, or I pretended to be the character and made up my own dialogue. This was so much fun. It felt like acting, and it made speaking English feel natural. I found that when learning feels like work, it's easy to get tired or give up. But when learning feels like play, you look forward to it every day. And the more you enjoy it, the faster you learn because you want to keep going. Finally, I celebrated small successes. If I learned 5 new words in a week, I was happy. If I could sing a whole song without stopping, I felt proud. These small moments of joy gave me energy to keep learning. So, if you are starting your English journey, please remember, make it fun. Find songs you love, watch funny videos, play games, act out scenes, read interesting stories, anything that makes you smile. When English becomes part of your happy moments, it will never feel like a heavy task. And before you know it, you will see your English getting better and better, all while having fun.